Hi everyone, welcome back. Carrying on with homeostasis again and looking at diabetes. So we're going to look at what diabetes is, why people get diabetes, and the treatments of type 1 and type 2. So as always, grab some paper, grab some pens and follow along with me. Diabetes then is a medical condition or a non-communicable, so you can't pass it on, disease that stops you or reduces your ability to maintain insulin levels in your blood. Diabetes comes in two main types. You've got type 1 and type 2. Before we look at the two different types, we need to think about what is diabetes generally and what does it cause. If you're diabetic and you eat something that is high in sugar or carbs, like a cake, what will happen is, obviously your blood sugar levels are going to start to go up, as we looked at in the blood glucose video. Just talking about homeostasis, there's always going to be a sort of normal level of blood glucose that your body wants to get to. And then if you are too high or too low in a little window either side, you're going to become quite ill. In someone who does not have diabetes, if they were to again eat the same sugary cupcake, their blood sugar will start by going up above the normal perhaps, but then insulin will be released and that will cause that blood sugar level to go down back to normal resting level, and all is well in the world. If someone who is diabetic does the same, so they eat a delicious cupcake, what will happen is, because they can't produce insulin, their blood glucose levels will start to go up and 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 up, and they will carry on going up until either they exercise or take insulin. If the blood sugar levels get way too high, that can actually be fatal. That's what happens during diabetes, so let's have a look in a little bit more detail about type 1 and type 2. Let's start by looking at type 1 then. Type 1 is caused by somebody's inability to make insulin, so your body can't make insulin. Now, we don't really know 100% what causes type 1. We do know that pancreas can't make insulin, and we also know that it can't make insulin because the white blood cells, or the person's immune system, actually destroys and attacks the insulin making cells in the pancreas. They might think that they're a foreign body or a pathogen. Again, we don't know why, but it usually happens when someone is young or a teenager, so this happens early on in life. This type of diabetes is also much rarer. So out of everyone that has diabetes, only about 10% of them will be type 1. And treating diabetes, or type 1 rather, can be a bit complicated. If you have type 1 diabetes, you can't make insulin, so the best way to treat that is to add insulin into your body. So people that have diabetes will often regularly inject themselves with insulin after eating and monitoring their blood sugar levels to bring the blood sugar levels down if they need to. So if they take their blood sugar after they've had lunch, for example, an hour or two afterwards, and their blood sugar levels aren't going down or aren't near the normal level, that's when they'd inject their insulin. They have to be really, really careful with the dose of insulin that they get, because if they take too much, that can cause it to swing the other way, and the blood sugar levels will get too low. So they'd have to eat eat, you know, a sugary snack or something, but you know, they're always monitoring their blood to see how much insulin they need and when. They can also treat with monitoring their diet, so having a low sugar and low carbohydrate diet, as well as exercising regularly. So that is type 1. Type 2 is where the pancreas does make insulin, but either the cells in the body don't respond to it, so they, you know, insulin's made but they don't start taking in glucose and converting it into glycogen, or they can't make enough insulin to meet the demands of their body. They basically tired out their pancreas from overuse. This type of diabetes is often associated with older people, so it develops later in life, and things like obesity and an unhealthy diet can also contribute to increasing your risk of getting type 2 diabetes. And don't get confused with thinking that just because you're, you know, slightly older, obese, and have a poor diet, you're automatically going to get diabetes. The thing with risk is it's still probability. You're more likely to get it. It's like buying 100 lottery tickets rather than one, but it doesn't automatically guarantee you're going to get it. Treatment for type 2 diabetes is similar to type 1, but the only real difference is they can't inject insulin, because of course if you inject insulin and your cells don't respond to it, you're injecting it for no reason. So you would treat this one more through a diet and exercise change. The thing with exercise, especially if you're doing higher tier, they'll like to link it to is the fact that exercise is, you know, needs respiration to be taken out. So of course exercise needs aerobic respiration. And aerobic respiration, one of its reactants is glucose. So the more exercise you do, the more glucose you're taking out of your body and using. So exercise is never a bad idea. Okay, so trying to get it all on one page. What you need to go away and learn in terms of exams is the differences between the two. So you need to know that type 1 can't make insulin, type 2 can make insulin but cells don't respond. You need to know the differences in who can get it and how it's treated. So those evaluate questions, given the pros and cons, could be linked with different, you know, comparing two different treatments. You could be asked to have a look at graphs like this one, and, you know, if you're doing foundation tier, work out who's the diabetic and who's not. Or you could be asked to, you know, calculate how much insulin a certain person needs to take, but you'll be given all the information. So the diabetes topic, it does come up quite often, because it's a nice one to talk about, to make sure you're really solid on what type 1 and what type 2 are, and the differences between them and the similarities. And we will leave it there. So I will see you again very soon. Make sure you get your notes down, do the quiz, and I will see you next time.